Welcome to our live news. My name is Elizabeth Mutfang. The headlines. Deadline for old naira notes meant to sabotage elections, says Abdullahi Ganduje. NAFDAC declares state of emergency as Nigeria ranks #1 in Africa in skin bleaching. APC has delivered change to Nigerians, says President Muhammadu Buhari. On the foreign scene, rescues provide glimmer of hope among earthquake ruins as death toll tops 21,000. And in sports news, we bring you Premier League Matchday 23 fixtures and kickoff time.
This is Alive TV.
And now the news in detail. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State says the deadline for the phase-out of the new naira notes was meant to sabotage the forthcoming general election. Ganduje stated this on Thursday during a meeting with bank managers, representatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, security agencies and other stakeholders at the Government House in Kano. In a statement made today, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Abba Anwar, said the meeting was an effort to find a lasting solution to the suffering faced by citizens as a result of a shortage of new naira notes and unending queues in banks. According to the Governor, the new naira redesign policy was a good one, but the poor implementation of the policy is a sign of sabotage at destroying democracy and causing confusion all over. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on the Central Bank of Nigeria's February 10th deadline for the expiration of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes across the country, the chairman of the Social Democratic Party, Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabam, has lauded the decision of the Supreme Court to override that of the CBN, revealing that it is a policy that has brought about untold hardship and is a direct sabotage of the economic and political welfare of the Nigerian people. He stated this during an interview with Alive TV's Ulubenga George. Here's an excerpt.
My gratitude to the judiciary. And we have three arms of the government that are independent of one another: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The judiciary intervention is patriotic, is nationalistic, and is in the interest of stabilizing the economy. And number two, it is a deliberate provocation for at the last minute government to come up with a policy that they don't have capacity to handle. It's an economic sabotage. It's an attempt to sabotage the upcoming election. Because no government in the world that can come up with a policy towards the end of or close to the election, then you know that it's going to truck the entire process. It will deny access, deny INEC some basic things that they need, even to operate, even to deploy sensitive materials, because it involves a lot of logistic movement and so on and so forth. That's why you saw INEC visiting CBN governor to discuss some of these issues, because it is obvious that already we are witnessing a lot of security issues. And now coupled with the fact that you have taken away people resources, you stuck it in the bank, and the contract between the bank and the client is simple. The client will have access to his money anytime. Client have no access to their money. The money have been hijacked by institutions regulated by Central Bank of Nigeria. And all the banks that you spoke to, they will tell you that the CBN told them not to disperse any money. And you can see bank officials jumping the fence for their dear life. Nigeria have never witnessed this before. I think we're in a military regime. Even military regime have not behaved this way. It's very alien to our culture, very alien to our civilization, and very alien to our developmental processes. So, I totally support the decision of the Supreme Court as a party, as an individual. Number two, I saw some controversy ranging from some lawyers, advocates. And also I read on the paper, whether it is on or not social media, that the opinion and the position of the CBN, legal department, is that judgment is not binding on that. And I also saw some senior advocates saying that, but I saw also senior advocates who said that they advise the CBN in their own interest not to go against the order of the Supreme Court.
Meanwhile, the National Council of State have asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to print more new naira notes or recirculate the old naira notes back into the system. The Council also agreed unanimously to obey the Supreme Court ruling. So therefore, today is no longer the deadline as announced by CBN. A national emergency has been declared in the country over the prevalent rate of bleaching among Nigerians. The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control has revealed that data from the World Health Organization has become a menace in the country as Nigeria ranks first in Africa. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said the problem has now become a national emergency with rates as high as 77%. The NAFDAC boss, at a workshop on dangers of bleaching creams and regulatory control organized by the Association of Nigerian Health Journalists in Kano, said Nigeria tops cases of bleaching in Africa, followed by other countries like Togo and South Africa, among others. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration has delivered the promise of change made to Nigerians when it was coming to power in 2015. The president made this known on Thursday at Ogbuokonike in Enugu East local government area of Enugu State at the commissioning and handing over of the federal government housing estate in the state. Represented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, the president said the housing scheme is one of the examples of change promised to Nigerians by his administration. President Buhari, while commending the Enugu state government for providing land space for the project, said the housing scheme is an example of what can be achieved through intergovernmental collaborations. On the foreign scene, rescue has continued in Turkey after the devastating earthquakes. Several people have been pulled from the rubble of collapsed buildings during the night, including a 10-year-old boy saved with his mother 4 days after a huge earthquake wrought death and destruction across southern Turkey and northwest Syria. The confirmed death toll from the deadliest quake in the region in decades stood at 21,000 in both countries this morning. Hundreds of thousands more people have been left homeless and short of food in bleak winter conditions, desperate for a multinational relief effort to alleviate their suffering. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad made his first reported trip to affected areas since the quake, visiting a hospital in Aleppo, Syrian state media has reported. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan was also expected to tour the disaster zone in his country again today amidst criticism from survivors and the political opposition that his government's response to the catastrophe was slow and poorly organized, accusations he rejects as he bids for re-election in May. That election may now be postponed due to the disaster. In sports news, the Premier League Matchday 23 will start on Saturday, February 11th across England with the London Derby between Chelsea and West United. The West Ham United versus Chelsea clash will launch football enthusiasts into a weekend of thrilling Premier League football encounters. The London Derby will take place at the London Stadium at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday. After that clash, there will be 5 Premier League fixtures that will kick off at 4 p.m. on the said day. And with that, we've come to the end of the news at this hour. Once again, my name is Elizabeth Mutfang. Thank you for watching.